Hi, guys. Welcome to the OJ podcast. I'm super excited to invite you today to meet my friend Blake Rispalje. And Blake's going to share a little bit about where he came from, what he's done in the past few years, and just how he's overcome some of the challenges of life. So, welcome, Blake. I'm so glad to have you here.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's really good. It's really good to be on the podcast.
Yeah, dude. It's crazy to think, like, how many years ago was it back? And you were just like a junior hire in my youth group, and we were like pulling weeds together and stuff.
Yeah, I think last time I was in a youth group was with you. I was a sixth or seventh grader, and I just went to youth group every week. But now I'm 19 almost, and obviously not a sixth grader anymore. But yeah.
Yeah, yeah, dude. And between then and now, Um, how did you? Yeah, like where are you at right now in life? Where are you? Where are you?
All right. So I live currently in Freeport, Illinois, which is kind of like a suburb of Chicago. Kind of, we're about an hour from Chicago. I used to live in San Jacinto, Hemet area with you and everybody else there, but we ended up moving, and now we live here. So, yeah,
And you like it there? It's pretty okay.
yeah. It's a little Midwest town, not very big, not tiny either, but it's pretty much green and grassy in the summertime and cold and snowy in the wintertime. So,
That's cool.
yeah,
It's like the opposite of here. Over here, it's like nice in the winter, but in the summer, it's just hell. It's so
yeah,
hot.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, everything dies. Wow. Well, tell us a little bit about your origin. Like, how did you begin?
Well, so obviously I was born in Hemet, or actually I was born in some other city, but I lived in Hemet my whole life.
Yeah,
And then I just grew up. We went to a church in town called 412, and then I was there in like the infants nursery, and I lived there and went to church there for a while, and then we didn't go there anymore. And then my dad found a couple of years later a job at Bible Fellowship Church where I met all you guys and everybody there, and then I kind of went to church there every Sunday and every other day that we were there
yeah,
until we moved. So that's pretty much my story. I went to church my whole life, and I grew up in the church. So and I
that's
continue
cool.
going to church. But yeah,
Yeah, man. And you have a super cool grandpa too.
yeah, yeah. He does
Yeah.
construction in town there and owns his own company. So
And didn't he? I got to work for him a couple times when I was like hard on the times and didn't
yeah,
have a job. He hooked me up, and then it was cool getting to meet him because he was like one of those. In my opinion, he's like from that greatest generation. You know, those
yeah,
guys who are just like, suck it up,
yeah.
work hard, and change the world, man.
Pretty much,
Dude,
yeah, yeah. He's a
yeah,
great dude. I love my grandpa. He's cool.
that's so cool.
He's taught
And
me
he
a
took
lot
you.
in life.
He used to take you hunting too, right?
Yeah, yeah. We used to go duck hunting every Saturday, which was great. It was really fun just to be out in nature and relax and just stare at the sky all day, you know.
Yeah,
But then when we'd actually get some ducks, it was fun. It was a good time.
that's awesome,
It's
man.
fun treading through water with your waterproof waders on. You know, yeah,
Wow. So maybe one day you'll have a grandkid of your own and you'll be doing that
yeah.
with them.
I'd like to do it here. We don't really have very many places here in Illinois around us that we can go to because they're all like 30 minutes away.
Mm,
I mean, there are, but you have to be on private land, and I don't really know anybody for private land. We live in the city, so
yeah.
there's
Well,
some
maybe,
places.
yeah. Maybe you can go out to another area too. Like I know where I was in Virginia, they had like so many deer.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot
It's
of
like
deer
they're
here
just
too. They walk through our backyard.
yeah, dude, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, so you started up in Hemet area, SoCal, and then tell us about your move because that's kind of I think what we're going to focus on today is you're one of the brave and the few who made the trek to a completely new state during COVID.
Yeah, yeah. So we went to church Bible fellowship, and we were there. My dad was there for like 5 years, right? Um, Things started to like we felt that God was calling us to a different land, different region. So my dad started looking for jobs, and he ended up finding one in Illinois here in our town. And he was like, I don't want to move there. And we were like, well, if it's what God wants us to do, we were all kind of ready for something new, if you want to call it that. But
Yeah.
so we came out here, interviewed, well, he interviewed, and they ended up giving him the job. Well, they were like, a month later, we want you to move out here like as soon as possible. So we were like, okay, yeah, it's fine. So we went back home, packed everything up. Well, about that week, after the week before we were going to move was when everything shut down. Like, people were like, things are getting crazy. This new thing, COVID, like, where's this from? Nobody knows what's
Mm.
going on with it. It was brand new. So we were like, hopefully we'll be able to move across the country because everything's closing down, and we don't want to be like trapped in some state somewhere and they hold us there in like some
Yeah.
facility,
Yeah.
So, but we did it. The day we ended up leaving was the day that everything got shut down. Church was canceled for
Dang.
at least 2 weeks. At that point, we didn't know how long it was going to be, but we made it across the country. We made it to Illinois. We had a house lined up. Actually, we didn't have a house lined up till the day before we got here. We were just
What?
like, well, we're just going to move here, and if we don't have a house, we're fine. So yeah, but the day before we showed up, they were like, we got a parsonage off of a church in town that you can live in.
No way.
So,
So is that the
um,
house you're at now?
no, it's a different
No.
house.
Okay.
We've lived in 3 houses since we've been here, in 3 years. So
That's tough,
we
man.
had that one. It was super tiny. It was like 2 bedrooms, and it was 6 of us in it. And then we moved to a big house, and now we live in our house here. Um,
Wow.
but yeah, so everything shut down. Church was canceled. I didn't know anybody. Nobody did. So it was hard to transition into living here because it's already hard moving across the country when you don't know anybody. But it's definitely more hard when you can't go outside or to the store at all because everything's shut down. So
Yeah.
yeah,
It's hard to make friends. I mean, and the friends you do make, you don't even know what they look like because everyone's wearing a mask.
yeah,
You-
exactly. So yeah, we we went to church. So when we came out here to visit, I met like 2 or 3 kids, and that was nice because I could actually like know some people kind of, but I wasn't really friends with them. I just like, oh, that's that kid. I remember him.
Yeah.
But one of the nice things was after about 2 or 3 months of COVID being around, um, my one of the pastor's son, he would have bonfires at his house because he had a big property. So he would
Mm.
invite a bunch of kids, and we'd all sit around a fire out in fresh air, like 6 feet apart from each other, and enjoy and have a good time. So
Yeah, dude.
that was nice. That was one way we could connect with each other and actually like be introduced to the town, even though we couldn't do anything, but we had some friends. So that
Yeah.
was nice. But
Wow.
yeah, so now we've been here for a while, 3 years
That's
almost.
cool.
Well, no, just past 3 years. Yeah.
Wow. Not only did you leave your community, but you also it's a completely different environment. Like we said, like you're in a land where it gets really cold in the winter,
Yeah.
and summer. I imagine it's humid over there. Does it get humid?
Yeah. It gets like about 70% humidity in the summertime, which isn't bad. But yeah, it was. We moved here in the wintertime. It was really cold. We didn't go outside ever, and we didn't have any friends, so it was hard to deal with everything that was going on. We were.
Yeah.
I was having a rough time in California already, but when we moved, it was even harder for the first year or so because, yeah, 6 months to a year because I was like, I feel like a loner. I don't have anybody. I found myself playing video games for 10 hours in the day because I didn't have anything else to do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would wake up, play video games. I would stop playing video games at like 12 in the morning, technically. Well, nighttime. Then I'd
Dang.
watch a show till like 4 in the morning, go to sleep, wake up at like 12, eat lunch,
Dude.
play video
Dude.
games that was for like probably 5 months straight. I just did that.
Dude. Yeah, I don't know what was unhealthier, COVID or the effects of everyone being shut down
Yeah.
because of COVID. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like that some of that probably caused people to get pre-existing conditions, you know? It's
Yeah.
like, because I can speak for myself. I became a bum. Like,
Yeah.
at least for that first like month, it was like, well, I guess I'm just gonna lie on my back and like look at the ceiling and
That-
like wonder about what we're gonna do.
That's pretty much what we did, all my whole family, because we were told so much. Don't go outside. Don't even interact with anybody. Don't even do anything. Just stay inside and you'll be fine. So that's what we did.
Yeah.
Stayed inside. I mean, we lived right next to a church that had a gym with a basketball court in it,
Oh,
and we had access to it. But,
that's nice.
I was like, I'm lazy. I really don't want to go play basketball. I just want to sit here, eat food,
Right.
eat my popcorn, and play video games because it's more
Yeah.
fun. And I could
Yeah.
interact with some of my friends in California because
Right.
I could still talk with them and have like some sort of relationship with people over a video game. So it helped me,
Right.
as much as it sounds weird, that helped me like get through it for a while.
To
I
cope,
was
right?
talking to someone.
Yeah. That's a beautiful thing. Like even like the fact that we're able to do this episode together,
Yeah.
like we're like thousands of miles from each other. We haven't seen each other in years, but like we're able to just pick up right where we left
Yeah.
off. And
Yeah.
it's of course it's never the same. Like I'd love to see you in person.
Yeah.
But for us to be able to do this, it's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's
To
true. It's
connect with people.
yeah. Yeah, we're probably 2,000 miles apart, and obviously it's not even the same time there as it is here, but we can still talk real time and have a conversation. So it's that's nice. That was the nice thing is, as much as it sucked, Skype and electronics helped people connect as the best they could. It was one
Yeah.
of the biggest helps was being able to talk with people over the phone or text or play video games with them, and you know that was a good time.
Yeah. Do you feel there's been an effect, kind of like a on modern time now, where people are influenced by that period to where maybe people who otherwise would have been more interested in personal, like face to face relationships, became sort of dependent on tech for meeting their spiritual relationship,
Yeah,
needs?
I would definitely say so because even people at church, they who didn't even come that often, they're like, I don't want to come back to church. I'd rather just watch it online. And I
Yeah.
think it's completely different going to church and talking with somebody
Mm.
and having a conversation face to face is a completely different like feeling, and you just have a stronger connection, quote unquote. I guess you can talk to people more deeply in person versus over Skype or listening to a message online. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but
Yeah.
uh, it feels like, especially kids who were like 12, 11, 12 when COVID started. Now they're like 15,
Mm-hmm.
14, 15, and it's that's all they've known. Their whole high school, well, their whole middle school was basically online, and even high
Yeah.
school. Some kids I know, a lot of the kids here who were ninth graders when it started, graduated by the time it was done. You know,
Right.
yeah. So it's different. That's what they got to get used to. Not as much anymore, but it affected people by that's all they knew was, oh, let me just log online and barely pay attention and play on my phone the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah. Because so basically, yeah, there was like 3 years of kids who grew up with that was just the way the world was, right?
Yeah.
So that kind of shaped their reality in a way. Like their perception of what it means to be a friend is viewed through that lens of virtual lockdown. Teachers suck. It's like
Yeah.
because they can't, and they become these like stupid beings that can't even tell that I'm working or not working because we to teachers in teachers' favor, like they did so much to try to learn this technology, but they couldn't,
Yeah.
they couldn't possibly be able to do what they used to do
Yeah.
using just a computer, right? And I notice a lot of kids hate school now, even more. I guess it seems like
Yeah.
probably because of that too, like because they're just like, yeah, this is just like a one directional, you know, channel, and they're just receiving information basically. Like there's no face-to-face engagement or interaction for that time.
Yeah. I
Hmm.
feel like it.
Did you?
What we
Yeah. Well, yeah. What was school like for you?
So
Curious
we were
about that.
homeschooled in California too. Well, towards the last year we were lived there, we were homeschooled,
Right
but
on, man.
because we went to normal school before that, well, a charter school, but it was pretty boring. I'm not gonna lie, just not really doing anything. All I would do is get on my computer, do my tasks for the day, and then I'd finish them and be done,
Yeah.
And then I'd just do whatever at home. Most of the time, I'd just play video games.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. I feel like COVID really caused a lot of people to fall into a deep hole of like depression and anxiety because they didn't know what was going to happen. A lot of people were really worried about, am I going to survive if I get COVID? Like, am I going to
Yeah. Yeah.
ever see anybody again? Am I ever going to be able to go outside? You know, for a lot of
Yeah.
people, they were really, really just sad about it, and especially because
Yeah.
house can't do anything.
Right, man. I remember at the start of COVID, I'm more of those. I'm one of those people that like is an adrenaline junkie, I think,
Yeah,
and has an overactive imagination. So, and you know that, like we used to
yeah,
hang out and play blow darts and stuff, and
yeah,
like sword fights, archery, make our own arrows and shoot each other. But in COVID, so I was like, at the start of it, I was like, holy cow, like this is it, man, this is it. Like
yeah,
I've been waiting for this moment for years, like for like the world to just go into chaos, and then we can like finally have some fun.
yeah,
Um, and so I was like happy actually, like because not that certainly not that people died or the
yeah,
unfortunate misfortune aspect of it, but the adventure side. Because I feel like as a young man, it was kind of taught to me that it's like, well, the world's already been conquered, everything's tame, everything's safe, and all the adventures, the moon's already been discovered and
yeah,
colonized and climbed on and whatever. So you guys are just gonna have to like eke out a living in an office. Right? It's like
yeah. That's
to
yeah,
me, I was like, that's so lame. Like, why don't you just like euthanize me now? It's like
for
because
real.
you've taken away any hope of like conquering adventure, challenge
Yeah,
that there is. And so COVID, in a way, it brought that back to me. And I remember initially I was like, this is probably a really good time to buy guns. Like
yeah,
it was like a week after everyone had bought all the guns. I was like, yeah, because everyone's going to be thinking like conspiracy theory crap like
yeah,
me. And so then I
yeah,
look online, I was like, oh shoot, that they're already way too expensive. I was like, I guess I'm not going to fall into the warrior survivor
yeah.
caste. I guess I'm going to become a peasant. So then I invested with some money. It was like so stupid. Me and my buddy Tim, we were going to survive the apocalypse, which I don't know why you would want to survive the apocalypse, just get it over with, right? But I bought shovels, I bought plastic sheet tarp and
Yeah,
stuff to make like a solar still, and I was like, I'm gonna dig wells, and I'm gonna dig graves, and I'm
that's
gonna
funny.
garden. And
Yeah,
that'll be my way of surviving and contributing something to society after it's
yeah,
all like devolved into chaos. But yeah, it was fun while it lasted, because it was kind of like those little video games where you're like, oh, now we have to survive, we have a challenge.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, did you ever have any like crazy dreams of like how COVID would play out or like what your life was going to look
Um,
like living off grid with a pioneer woman?
now I mean, yes and no. I thought that I was just gonna be trapped inside all day, and I was like, well, then I'm just gonna move to like some big farmland,
Alaska?
literally
Or
just
is it-
do something, live my life there, you know, not do anything, just farm and grow wheat and make bread and all that random stuff.
Yeah, man.
So
I planted potatoes because I was inspired by The Martian. I
yeah,
planted a bunch of potatoes during COVID and they did well.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's funny because like you ever watch like those primitive survival people? I was like, I'm just gonna resort to that. I'm gonna be digging holes with a little stick in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. Eating catfish and grasshoppers.
For real. But no, yeah.
Wow.
So I mean, even for myself, I found myself getting sad about being trapped inside, and I was like, God, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what all this is for. I don't understand why we're all trapped inside, or like what my life even is here for. Like, why am I here? Like, you just moved my
Hmm.
whole family across the country, and now I'm just gonna stay inside for the next 20 years. But
Yeah.
you know,
Just I'm destined to live in my father's basement.
pretty much.
Yeah. That's crazy. Like back in the day, you used to have a choice at least, but
Yeah.
now it's like, nope, you shall live in your father's basement.
And everything got expensive after that too.
Yeah.
Like prices of houses went up, prices of food, gas, everything. It all skyrocketed after COVID. I feel during COVID it was pretty low because no one was using any of it, but then
Yeah.
afterward it went back up because people, you know, could go back out in society. So
Yeah. And people weren't, the thing is, the shocking thing to me is like nobody learned any of the lessons from COVID. They just faked it, right? Because like immediately after the risk is gone, the fear of death is gone,
yeah,
everyone went right back to doing the same stupid stuff they did before.
I know.
No concern for the environment, no concern for financial planning,
Yeah,
no concern for, their fellow man. But during COVID, everyone was like, we're all in this together, right? And
yeah,
it was like this little blip on like human compassion where it's like our timeline is like continuously on the decline, but at one point it was like whoop,
yeah.
yeah, we should care about each other, and then it was like nah,
Back down.
screw everyone.
Yeah,
It's
for
like
real.
I'm in it for me. I was like, what happened, guys? I thought we were really having a heart
No,
change
because
here.
you would see like you saw like on the news there was like deer running through like big cities and it's like what the heck,
Yeah,
and they usually live in the outskirts. So even the animals were like, what's going on here? Like nobody's doing
yeah,
anything normal. I saw a video of a guy skateboarding on the highways in California. He was like
yeah,
on the
dude, that's
freeway
so cool.
skateboarding, and I was like, wow, you never see that ever.
Yeah, man, it was real freedom for like
Yeah,
a few
it was.
months
It
for some
was
people.
kind of like the apocalypse, like nobody was outside. You could literally just go out and do what you want, basically.
Yeah, yeah. What about in not to diminish the sad side of it too? Like I don't want to focus on that, but I wanted to remember it. Like, what
Yeah.
about did you feel? Yeah, did you have any like friends that passed away through COVID or relatives or just people that you knew that that time it really did devastate them?
Mm, not that I knew personally, but a lot of
Hmm.
people at our church passed away.
Yeah.
I would say at least 10 or 15 passed away from just some of them were COVID, but some of them were just random stuff during COVID. So
Right.
a lot of them were
Also,
older people, but
yeah,
yeah,
and also like the lifestyle, like we said, the lifestyle we were living due to the fear of COVID, it was like that wasn't healthy either, right? Like I have a cousin that died. He was in Iran. So actually, my cousin's husband, he passed away because he had a surgery. He went in during COVID, and then at that time, it's like I don't know if he died of COVID or not, but I know a lot of people just reported stuff as COVID too.
yeah,
But in Iran, like they, it is Middle East. There's not as many precautions. In a way, it's more free, but it's also less safe.
yeah.
And so in that way, I think he ended up dying because of probably bad hygiene practices in the hospital, and it could have just been whatever too. But I imagine with this like staffing shortage and just everything wasn't normal. I'm like, dude, that's like the wrong time to go to the hospital,
Yeah,
like unless you absolutely need it, because this was actually like a surgery for just like weight reduction and stuff.
yeah,
So it sucks because it's like he was a great guy and I loved him and he passed away. Um,
yeah. That's the
and
thing.
it yeah
Hospitals were heavily like hit with a lot of people, so it's almost like you couldn't go to the hospital because you weren't going to be treated at the maximum capacity that they could treat you at, because they were busy
yeah
30 other people, 40 other people if you have a small hospital, and they can't focus 100% of their time on you because they've got 50 other people to be focusing 100% of their time on.
right. And it's like in my mind, it's like those kids who have asthma or like those elderly people who are like having breathing problems. Like those are the ones. It's like you want to get them help first because it's like they're the ones who seem like were most likely affected.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you had another health issue, like I remember my buddy, he like chopped his finger. I think he chopped his finger during COVID. We were like harvesting bamboo, and I was like, dang it, like this is a bad time to get in trouble, like health wise, because like we can't afford stitches, and plus we can't even get the people who do the stitches.
Yeah, yeah, just sew
So
it up yourself.
yeah, sew it up yourself.
Yeah,
But
but
it was
no, it's
fun for us a little bit, yeah.
yeah.
What
Yeah,
about living with your family? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, you're good. I was just gonna say COVID
Yeah,
was interesting. It was interesting. I mean, it
yeah,
still is, but
yeah, yeah. And
COVID.
all the variants and all the like confusion is like, well, is this COVID? Is this not COVID?
Yeah,
What does it do? What doesn't it do? Yeah. How about living with your family? Were you in that two-bedroom house for like 6 months with six people?
yeah. We were in that. Actually, we were in the two-bedroom house for probably a year.
Wow.
So it was like a two-bedroom house. Downstairs had two bedrooms. Upstairs had one. So it was
Dude, that sounds like an
but
experiment in
one of them
social.
was like an office. Mine was like an office room. It was tiny. Our kitchen was like 15 foot by 10 foot room.
That's like my bedroom. That's
With
like
yeah,
this room.
yeah, it's like a bedroom size. But we had a fridge, counter with a sink, and a table all in that room.
Dang.
And then the other room was a living room with a couch, a TV, and then yeah, it was like say like a 100 foot, no, 60 foot by 60 foot square. That was our whole house.
That sounds like the house in Ready Player One. Did you feel like the kid in Ready Player One?
Pretty much, it was tiny. It was a tiny house, very small. But yeah, six of us crammed into that, and we had during that time we had when COVID kind of died down a little bit towards the end, like when it wasn't as like prevalent. We had some people over too, so it was extra like
Dang. Pizza
small.
party
Yeah,
in my
yeah. It's like we
little
had two or three
house.
friends over, and it was like now there's zero room to do anything in here. You know.
Yeah. Dang.
Yeah,
Did you guys, I know with my family, anytime like holidays were always really great for the first day to 3 days. And then after that, they sucked because we would always say, well, my mom would be like, I just feel so happy when you're all together.
yeah.
I was like, well, we do too for the first 3 days. But after that, we're like, ah,
That gets crazy.
somebody get us out of here.
Yeah,
Because we're all in the little house with like nothing to do except like puzzles.
yeah,
And did you guys ever get to that point where you're like, I can't stand my family. Like, I just need to go for a walk,
yep.
maybe die, maybe get hit by a car. It's like,
Yeah, maybe go like jump into the river or something. You know.
just jump into the river, end it. Like,
Yeah, for real. No, that sometimes some days it got like that. It was like, can't we just do something else or go somewhere? That's why
yeah,
I would go out. I would go over to the basketball gym a couple times,
that's
at
good.
least 2 times a week, so I could get out of the house and go be in a big open church gym with some music playing and then be fine, you know.
Yeah.
But
I
so yeah,
remember for me, like, keep going. I'm sorry. I cut you off.
oh, you're good. That I found ways to stay busy during COVID and enjoy it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. For me, I can say the best thing for me, for my own sanity, was just a garden. I started planting things because I was like, well, we're gonna need to eat food, and prices might get worse, and supply chain
yeah,
issues, and like, we're definitely not gonna survive, but like at least we could enjoy, a nice tomato salad,
yeah,
before before it all ends.
for real.
so, so like we would do that, me and my buddy Tim, and I
Mhm.
planted corn. We planted squash.
Yeah,
It was a great time. It was like a safe space for us, like a sanctuary where we could just go and stand in these plants and watch them grow and watch them
yeah,
flower. And it was beautiful to me too, because like the world, what all the humans in the world were in chaos, but the world, as it's been designed, just continued doing its thing.
yeah,
It felt like that was like a huge encouragement to me, is like saying, well, you know what? The trees aren't concerned. The bugs and bees aren't concerned.
true.
Like all these things God's made, they're just like, well, we know what our directive is, and we're gonna keep doing it.
Yeah,
And that, I guess, that seeing the confidence in that, like those creative things, helped me to be like, you know what? We're not gonna nothing. God's not gonna let anything bad happen to us that's not supposed to happen to us.
true. Yeah,
It kind of gave me a little bit more stability. Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm. Wow. So what advice would you have for other people who like are unfortunate enough to find themselves in a similar situation, whether it's moving across country or experiencing an epidemic, or maybe it's a war, like whatever it is that they end up having to live through, but
Yeah.
they feel uprooted like you did. They might be dependent on their family in a small space with few resources.
Well, if someone was going through that or they did go through the same thing and they're still struggling with the effects of it, I would say don't give up. Put your trust in the Lord. Try to just lean on Him for things you need. Try try new things. Go out and do something you've never done before because you might really enjoy it. Go,
Mm-hmm.
like for me, I would just go sit on the roof of our church and look at like the town because our roof is very easily accessible. So I would just go sit there and go look around. Play. I brought my guitar up a couple times and we recorded a music video. And
Yeah, dude.
so
That is
just
sweet.
go do new things you've never done because you have the opportunity to. You know, if especially if we were all locked away, and I know some places still are, like slightly in other countries and stuff, but just go do something new, go enjoy life, and try not to let little things drag you down. I know a lot of big things happened during COVID, but try to find the joy in little stuff. That would be
Yeah.
my one piece of advice.
Right on, man. Kind of a seize the day sort of a message, right?
Yeah,
If this is your last day, live it well.
yeah.
Hmm. Wow. Well, I know we kind of touched on it, but I guess for closing thoughts, I wanted to ask you. I know you're a Christian and I'm a Christian. Some of our viewers out there might not be, but that's okay. If they don't know God like we do, I still wanted to give a chance to hear about what role that God played in your life, and yeah, what how do you see His hand in the events of your life, and especially in that season where you guys were transitioning through all this craziness.
He God really played a big part in all of it because when we moved here, I just had to trust Him that He was doing something good. That He had a plan and everything that was going on. That He still is going to work when everybody's not interacting with each other. He still did great things during COVID, and amazing things have happened. There's a huge church revival happening. People are coming to the
Hmm.
Lord and going, okay, we need to turn to Him. So He played a big part in my life. He has a plan and He's worked it out pretty good. I'm now married. I have a kid, so
Yeah,
clearly
man.
clearly things worked out pretty good. So just trusting Him to do what's good for you was a big part. Trust, a lot of trust, faith. You know, without being able to see God, like we can't see God, but just trust Him. Know He's
Yeah,
there, even though you can't see Him. That was
right.
that's that's a big way that He played in my life. Is just giving me more patience and trust that He's going to do what's good for me and my family as time
Yeah,
goes on.
dude. That's awesome. Have you ever seen the Book of Eli?
I
Denzel
don't
Washington,
know. I don't think I have.
cross country trip, blind dude. Maybe I spoiled it already for people.
That's all
Um,
right. Yeah,
if you're listening, just erase that from your memory and go
yeah,
watch Book
yeah.
of Eli. But well, there's this film where at the end of it, basically, yeah, I spoiled it. But the reveal is like he's carrying this one book across country, and it's like really important. Like everyone's trying to steal it from him, and it ends up getting stolen. And it turns out that that book was the Bible, and it was like the last copy of the Bible.
Yeah, that's
And
cool.
his mission was to bring it across from like I guess California to New York or whatever.
Yeah,
And he gets there, and then you're like, oh man, like you just have this gut sinking moment where you're like, it's over, like, he failed. And then you see him, the last scene, and you see Denzel, this strong
yeah,
man, like standing, and he's sitting there, and he starts reciting, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth
yeah,
was formless and void. And then and then you have this concept of like to walk by faith and not by sight,
yeah.
and you realize it's a blind dude, and it's just like to me like that was one of the most powerful films I've seen. I don't know if it was made by
Mm.
Christians or made to plug Christianity or not, but like the message behind it, I think both Christians and non-Christians can take away from is like this concept of to walk by faith and not by sight, to trust that there is good that's coming. And for those of us who believe in Jesus, it's like, yeah, like that gives us tremendous confidence, right? Where we're like, I know it's going to be okay. I know God's got me.
Yeah,
And I think that's something that when people see that don't even believe in God, it's still attractive. They're like, man, that looks so cool. I wish I could have that,
yeah,
you know? But it's cool to see like how you guys took that step of faith too, where you had no guarantee that it wasn't the end of the world,
yeah.
You guys could have literally been like kidnapped and eaten alive by
That's what we were
weirdos.
thinking. We were like, well, hopefully we don't get stolen and stop at some random gas station. Then we just never seen it.
Like,
You know?
yeah, like your organs get sold on the black market, and
That was a possibility, very much a possibility. So
yeah, dude, it's crazy what people will do when they're desperate. Yeah.
yeah,
So, well, yeah, praise God, man. I'm so excited to see what he's going to continue doing with your life.
yeah,
And it's been an adventure already, huh?
yeah. It's been a crazy adventure, but it's been for the good. So
Yeah. So, well, what's next? Is there anything else on the horizons? Like, you're also a musician. You're a new father. You work as a mechanic too in your
yeah,
community,
yeah. I
and you
play
serve in your
music.
church.
Uh, I don't know. Hopefully someday I'd like to be a worship leader, pastor somewhere. I mean, my
Yeah,
dad
man.
does it at our church, but our church likes to do like separate little smaller branches, like break off and create new churches. So maybe someday I'll do that. But for now, I just do mechanics, fix cars. You know,
Yeah, man.
that's pretty much what I do with my life.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Well, maybe the next time we have you on, if you're down to come again,
yeah,
maybe we could hear. Maybe you could play some worship songs for us or something.
yeah. I'd be down.
That'd be sweet.
Yeah, I'd love to be
I'd
back.
love to see your music video.
Don't look it up
Yeah.
if it's bad.
Really?
I was like, that was like when we first moved here. It was rough, but it's all right.
Okay. I mean, it'll have its own special appeal. It's like a very niche music videos created during 2020
Yeah,
with low amount of gear and technology.
that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah,
I can't say that I'm much better with my camera gear, but I'm working on it. So,
it's all right. It'll get better over time.
yeah. Dude, you're the first, congratulations. You're the first Skype interview we've done.
Let's
So,
go.
woohoo!
Woo! And there'll be more,
Yeah.
hopefully.
Yeah, there'll be plenty more.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming, man. It's just awesome to get to hang out, even though it's digital.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. It's a good time.
Yeah. Well, thanks, guys. We're so excited that you got to meet my friend,
Yeah.
and hope you guys have a great week. Hope you can take something away from this about resilience, about faith, and just overcoming, because we know it's not an easy life, and I guess the best you can do is sometimes just trust in God. If you don't believe in God, we're praying for you. We hope that you can find a way to get through, because the world isn't an easy place, is it?
No. No,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. Well, thanks for listening, and God bless you. Take care, guys. This was the OJ Podcast with
Yeah.
Blake Rispalje.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you, bro.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
Later. See ya.
All right, dude, it worked. Yeah.